Hello everyone, welcome to this discussion session on GATE 2022 architecture paper. Before I start with this discussion, with the solution part of GATE 2022, let us first discuss few points about the exam paper itself. Firstly, the general feedback from most of the students is the paper is anywhere between moderate to difficult, and the cutoff probably could be around 35 marks. However, this preliminary stage we cannot guess the cutoff, but yeah, probably that could be the possible uh, mark around which you will be having the cutoff for this particular examination. However, if you want to get your predicted rank, you can check the answer key. You can find the link of the answer key of career revenues and also the rank predictor link in the description of this video. You can cross check your score, fill that form, and you will get your predicted rank for the GATE exam within few days. And before I start with the solution again, in this video we'll be discussing the solutions of common part and the architecture part, that is part A and part B1. I'll be skipping through the general aptitude. Few observations of this question paper of GATE 2022 architecture and planning question paper. Like always, general aptitude was very simple. Uh, it was easy to score well in the general aptitude part. Other than that, from the subject part, that is from the core topics, architecture and planning, one major observation which is new in this particular paper. Last year when MSQ questions were introduced, multiple select questions were introduced, these questions were included only in the 2 marks part. But this year there are multiple select questions in all the sections, 1 mark part of common part, 1 mark part of architecture portion, planning portion. So there are multiple select questions included in both 1 mark and 2 mark. That is one thing which is new in this paper. Other than that, the number of numericals in the 1 mark. If you see the common part, there are around 6 to 7 numerical questions, I think, for 1 mark. So generally, 1 mark numericals is something in previous GATE was not very common. Generally around 4 or maximum 5, but this year the number of numericals in the 1 mark also has been increased. There are in the architecture part also you have 1 mark numericals, in the common part as well you have 1 mark numericals. And finally, there is no clear-cut boundary in some topics, like you have climate responsive design is something which is written in the common part. Solar architecture is something which is written in the architecture part. If you see this first question of the common part, the concentric circles in a sun path diagram. Now this ideally should be a part of the architecture portion. But then, even though it is of solar architecture, you see it was given in the common part. So you cannot draw clear-cut boundary in few topics. That was evident as we have been informing our students. Uh, some topics, it's not very easy to draw a clear-cut boundary. That was evident in the question paper also. Without any further delay, let us look into the solutions of GATE 2022 question paper, starting with the common part first. So first question number 11. The concentric circles in the sun path diagram. I hope you are aware, in a sun path diagram, the concentric circles represent inside the sun chart diagram. You have these concentric circles. These concentric circles represent the altitude angle. So A is the correct answer. Azimuth angle is represented on the periphery. This is azimuth angle. And day of the year, it is included on the sun paths, which are given on the sun chart diagram. These represent the day. Hour of the day is represented on these vertical orientation lines along the sun path. So these are the 4 components: altitude angle, azimuth angle, day of the year, and also time. All these are the 4 things which are mentioned on the sun chart diagram, and altitude angle is represented on the concentric circles. That's the correct answer for the first one. Second question, the operational guidelines on credit link subsidy scheme for EWS, January 2017, by Ministry of Housing and Poverty Alleviation, Government of India defines EWS houses as those having an annual income up to, the answer for this is 3 lakhs. The definition is EWS category is up to 3 lakh per annum annual income. Annual household income is up to 3 lakh. For LIG category, it is 3 lakh 1 rupee, that is 3 to 6, up to 6 lakh per annum. Then you have MIG, ranging again within MIG, there is MIG 1 and MIG 2. So the range is from 6 to 12 MIG 1 and 12 to 18 lakhs per annum, that is MIG 2. So that's the categorization as per the operational guidelines of credit linked subsidy scheme by Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation. Answer for this particular question, however, is 3 lakh per annum. That is question number 12. Next one, which of the following is a vector graphic software? The answer for this is Inkscape. Inkscape is a vector graphic software. Odeon, I hope you know, is a software which is used for acoustical performance and acoustical study of buildings. Adobe Dreamweaver is used for website building, and Design Builder is a software which is used again for energy simulation of buildings. So Inkscape is the answer, which is a vector graphic software here. Question number 14. The main cable of a suspension bridge supports the deck with hangers. These hangers are equidistant along the length of the bridge and represent a uniformly distributed load. This is key here. Assuming the cable to be weightless and as compared to the load applied, the best approximation of the shape that the cables take for this loading is dash. So when a cable is applied with UDL, the shape which it takes, this curve is known as curve which is formed when UDL is applied onto cables. That's known as catenary curve. That's the answer for this particular question, number 14. Question number 15. Arrange the following road types in the descending order of accessibility. Descending as in most accessible, starting with the most accessible with reducing accessibility. Most accessible obviously is local street. After local street you have collector road. That's the second level of accessibility. Then you have arterial road, and finally you will be having the expressway. SRPQ should be the answer. SRPQ, option B. That's the correct answer for decreasing order of accessibility. Question number 16. A two-dimensional visual composition is given and they're asking what it represents. So this particular diagram, it represents interlocking, intersecting, interlacing, interpenetrating. This pattern is called as interlacing, like how fabric is prepared. The strands are interlaced to prepare fabric. Bamboo stripes are interlaced to create baskets. So this pattern is interlacing pattern. Interlocking pattern is basically a tessellation, like paving blocks and all. Those are interlocking patterns. Interlacing is one fit into the other. It creates a uh, uniform sheet, like how basket and fabric is. Golden ratio refers to. Now, golden ratio, I hope you are aware, the ratio of 1.618 or 1 is to 1.618. This ratio is called as golden ratio. If you find out this ratio 1 upon 1.618, 1 upon 1.618, this will give you 0.618. You can cross check, you can check each and every options. You have accessibility to the scientific calculator on the screen also in the examination. You can easily cross check. 1 is to root 2 is 1 is to 1.414. This will not give you the value of 0.618. So 2 is to 1 plus root 5, that actually gives you the answer 0.618. So this is the answer for golden ratio. 2 is to root 5 is 2.23, I guess. So 2 is to 2.3.23. 2.23 plus 1 is 3.23. 2 is to 3.23 approximately. As far as I remember, that's the value of root 5. So 2.23 plus 1 is 3.23. You check and you should get the answer. So B is the correct answer from the given options. 16 is to 9 obviously is not 0.618. It is more than 1. Only option B is the correct answer. Coming to the next one, Hogarth's line of beauty is William Hogarth was the one who gave this idea of line of beauty. Line of beauty was a S curve or a serpentine curve, which William Hogarth felt it induced curiosity at the person who is looking at it. So it's a design principle basically. Serpentine line is the answer for line of beauty. Which of the following sites are added to Ramsar list in the year 2020? So the two sites from these given, this is a multiple select question here. However, in this question paper, it is not mentioned, but in the examination on the top of each and every question, it will be mentioned. If it is an MSQ question or MCQ question or NAT question, and weightage for that question is. This is a 1 mark multiple select question. I told you in the beginning, multiple select questions are asked in the 1 mark also this year. So, which of the following sites are added in the Ramsar list in the year 2020? The answer for this, so it's based on general awareness of Ramsar list basically. The answer is Assam Conservation Reserve, which is the first Ramsar list site in Uttarakhand state. And the second is Lonar Lake. Lonar Lake is the only basalt rock lake formed due to meteor falling onto Earth. If you look at this, is in Maharashtra. So it's a lake formed due to a meteor which fall onto the basalt rock formation. Deccan Plateau is more or less basalt rock formation. So this is the only site in India where a meteor strike created a lake on the Earth's surface in India, right? The remaining, there are only four across the world of the basaltic lakes which are formed due to meteors falling on Earth. Three are in Brazil, one is in India, and Lonar Lake is one of it. And it is well known for as a wetland conservatory in itself. So Lonar Lake is the answer. B and C, B and D are the answers. These are the two sites which were added in the Ramsar list in the year 2020. Now you see this question, Hogwarts line of beauty. Even if you don't know this particular concept, you could take an approximated guess by looking into the other options. Horizontal straight line, vertical straight line, if you see. A and C could directly be eliminated probably. A vertical and horizontal straight line, why would it be given a name of line of beauty, right? So you can take an approximate guess even if you don't know the exact concept sometimes in the gate exam. So yeah, that's one mark question. So we still have few more one mark questions in the common part. This is question number 20. Which of the following helps in keeping direct solar radiation off of the building? This also is an MSQ multiple select question. You had to select. So in multiple select question, one option can also be correct sometimes. But here, let us see from the given four options, which two or which three or which one or which four are solar radiation protection members. Mashrabia is actually one. This is a Persian element which is used for reducing the solar heat gain. It's like a screen which is provided on the openings. Badgir actually is a wind catcher. Badgir and Malkaf. Badgir and Malkaf was used in Egypt, in the region of Egypt. Badgir was used in the region of Persia. Both are related to wind catchers. Wind catchers are not used, these are used for ventilation purposes, not for protection from solar radiation. Mashtabi and Chaja, obviously everyone knows. Mashtabi and Chaja are the answer uh, for design members which keep solar radiation out of the building. Question number 21, again a multiple select question for 1 mark. As per the Handbook of Professional Documents 2015 Council of Architecture India, architects are liable dash. There are four conditions given. Which of these conditions are where architect is responsible for? Even if you have not read the professional documents recently before the exam, from your experience from your college days, or even by using general knowledge, you can answer this question easily. Let us look into the options. If the building is used for any other purpose than the one which is mentioned it was designed for, obviously no, architect is not responsible. If the building is used for some other purpose, it is the client's responsibility to use the building as per the existing land use or design, original design. If any unauthorized changes or illegal modifications are made by the owner, obviously architect is not responsible for that. The owner is responsible for such activities. If the client suffers damage or loss due to lack of proper professional service, yes, architect is responsible for that. If the architect fails to attain the standard of care as prescribed by law, exactly, that also is the answer where architect is responsible for. So C and D are the correct answers. Now in multiple select questions, instead of these two options, if you select only one, you will not be given mark. You have to select both the or uh, if there are two or three or four, you have to select all the correct answers only, then you will be given the mark of that particular question. Let us look into this next one. This again is a multiple select question for 1 mark again. In last year's paper, when multiple select question was introduced, not even a single question was asked for 1 mark in multiple select. But here you have around 6 questions this year, I think, in multiple select pattern also. As per United Nations, Transforming a World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development 2015, which of the following sustainable development goals directly address the water related issues? There are a total of 17 sustainable development goals as published by United Nations, of which which address the water related issues are 6 and 7. SDG 6 look or talks about pure water for drinking purposes and sanitation, improvement of sanitation. Whereas, so that is a directly drinking water related goal, sustainable development goal, that is C. The Sustainable Development Goal 14 talks about the aquatic life, the life animals present in the uh, water. So that's also water related issue. So C and D are the correct options for this particular question. Moving to the numerical part of the common portion. Question number 23. A masonry, for a masonry section, the line of action of force shifts to incorporate the effects of lateral forces and induced moments. Consider a masonry section of width 600 mm. So the width is given as 600 mm. See, that's the thickness of the wall. Assuming a zero tensile stress capacity and linear stress strain response for the entire domain of loading, the minimum value of eccentricity at which the section will crack in mm is dash. 600 mm is the thickness. This is a direct standard for masonry. The eccentricity at which the section will crack, the minimum value of eccentricity at which the section will crack is given as 1/6 of the thickness. So it is thickness upon 6. So that is basically 1/6 of 600. The answer is 100 mm. This particular numerical answer question. In mm, the answer is 100. Next numerical answer type question. So you see this year, because MSQ and NAT questions, the number of multiple select and numerical questions together, it has been increased. So the total number of questions with effective negative marking, that has reduced a lot from this year. Last year's paper, if you see, there are a lot of MCQ questions compared to this. So the number of questions with negative marking would be more. So the problem of negative marking is limited to only few questions where you need to take care of the risk taking analysis and all. You can focus only on few questions for that part. All these you can take risk even if you don't know the answer, because these are obviously, it's always better that you know it properly, because you have to maximize your score in the examination. Anyways, this one mark question again, numerical type. The maximum and minimum indoor dry bulb temperature of a room are 38 and 34 respectively. If the corresponding outdoor maximum and minimum dry bulb temperatures are 42 and 30 respectively, the thermal damping of the room is given by. Thermal damping is calculated as a percentage. Thermal damping is calculated. So definition of thermal damping is basically the difference in variation between indoor and outdoor. The difference in variation between indoor and outdoor expressed as a percentage of outside variation. Difference between the variation of outdoor and indoor expressed as a percentage of the outside variation. So difference between the inside and outside variation. Outside, say the delta T is variation, basically difference. Delta T outside minus delta T inside. This is called as variation outside minus variation inside, expressed as a percentage of the variation outside into 100. So this basically will be, what is variation outside? It is 42 and 30. Variation outside is 12 degrees centigrade minus variation inside is 4 degrees centigrade upon outside variation is 12 again into 100. So the answer for this is 12 minus 4 is 8. The answer should be 8 upon 12 expressed as a percentage. 8 upon 12 into 100 is the answer. You can check, I think you'll get the answer as 66.67%. 8 upon 12 is basically 2 upon 3. 4 2 is 8, 4 3 is 12. 2 by 3 is 0.67. So that's the answer for this. Excuse me. That's the answer for this question number 24. Question number 25. Again, a 1 mark numerical. A building's height measures 96 square centimeters on a scale of 1 is to 12500. Actual area represents dash in hectares. Actual area is to be calculated. Now, scale is generally represented as a ratio of the length. 1 is to 1,25,000 or say 12,500 here, right? So scale of 1 is to 12,500 is nothing but 1 centimeter on the site, 1 centimeter on the map is equal to 12,500 centimeters on the actual ground. Uh, when you express the scale for areas, like 1 centimeter square will be how much on site, you need to square the scale. So the scale factor for area, the scale factor for area is basically square the given scale, 12,500, just square it. The scale factor for your area, I think, will be 125 square. You can use your calculators. It would come around. Use your calculator. Let me just quickly check. 15625 four zeros. So that's the scale factor for area. Now the next step is pretty much simple. 1 centimeter square on the map will be 156250000 centimeter square on the actual terms. Here we are given 96 centimeter square. How much would that be, right? So the actual area is equal to 96 multiplied by the scale factor, that is 156250000. This will be the actual area, but this will be in centimeter square. They're asking us the answer in hectares, so you have to divide this by, firstly, to convert the centimeter square into meter square, you need to divide it by 100 into 100. 1 centimeter is basically 1 upon 100 meters. So to convert into centimeter square into meter square, divided by 100 into 100, and then to convert it to hectares, you need to divide it by 10,000, because 1 hectare is 10,000 square meters. Simplify this, you should get your answer as 150 hectares. The answer for this is 150. So that's question number 25. So find out the scale factor, convert the area, convert the units, centimeter square into meter square first, divided by 100 into 100, to divide into hectares divided by 10,000. That's the answer for 25. Next question number 26. An off-street car parking lot contains a total of 75 bays. If the parking lot was used by 687 cars over a period of 12 hours, 687 cars in 12 hours, 75 bays. The average parking turnover of the parking lot. Now, even if you don't know what is average parking turnover, it is always better if you know the definition. But even if you don't know, in GATE, this is a good thing. The units would be mentioned. If you see here, in vehicles per hour per bay. So by looking into the excuse me, by looking into the measurement unit, looking into the measurement unit itself, you can understand the concept of what is average parking turnover. It is vehicles per hour per bay. Number of vehicles 687, per hour per bay 12 hours 75 bays. That's it. Vehicles per 687 vehicles per divided by 12 hours into 75 days. So you need to find out how many vehicles are occupying a bay in 1 hour duration on an average. That's basically average parking turnover. Number of vehicles occupying a bay per unit time, that counted or measured over a day is known as average parking turnover of that particular day. So we are calculating that as 687 divided by 12 into 75. 12 into 75 I think should be 900. So 687 upon 900, you'll get your answer. You can use your calculators and check. Your answer should be 0.7633. They're not asking us to express in a percentage, so you will directly express it as 0.7633. Round off to 2 decimal places, your answer will be 0.76. That's the answer for this question. Next one, this is again a numerical question. You see, there are a lot of numericals for 1 mark this year in the common part. Hydraulic radius of the following rectangular open drain section in MMS dash. Hydraulic radius is calculated as wet cross-sectional area upon wet cross-sectional perimeter. Wet cross-sectional area on wet cross-sectional perimeter. Wet cross-sectional area 600 by 250. You only count the wet area. Wet area is only till here. You don't take the total drain cross-sectional area. So it is 600 multiplied by 250. That's wet cross-sectional area divided by wet cross-sectional perimeter in an open drain. You take it only from 3 sides. So it is basically this length plus this length plus this length. This is called as wet cross-sectional perimeter. You don't take the top length in the open ring. So just 250 plus 600 plus 250, you'll get it as 500 plus 600, which is 1100. So divide this by 1100. 600 into 250 upon 1100. You can use your calculators and find out the answer. it would be 136.36 mm. They're asking us the answer in mm itself, so I have done the calculation in millimeters itself. That's question number 27 for 1 mark. Next one, question number 28, again for 1 mark. I think this is the last question in the 1 mark part. Let us look into this. A town with 0.45 million population sends its entire organic waste to a composting site on daily basis. This is a keyword here, daily basis, through a truck of 15 ton carrying capacity. 15 ton is the capacity, population is 0.45 millions. They're transporting the organic waste on daily basis. Assuming the total waste generated per capita per day is 0.21 kg, and of this 40% is organic waste. So first thing is, we know the carrying capacity of each truck. First step is to find out what is the daily production of organic waste. What is the daily generation of organic waste? That's the first step. How to calculate the daily generation of organic waste? Total population multiplied by the total rate of generation, which is 0.21 kg, on 40% or into 0.4, 40% of it. So firstly, multiply the population with per capita generation of waste. Population is 0.45 million, so it is basically 0.45 into 10 to the power of 6. Million is 10 to the power of 6. 1 के बाद 6 zeros. So 0.45 into 10 to the power of 6 multiplied by 0.21. That will give the total waste generated, and 40% of it into 0.4. This is total generation of organic waste on daily basis. Now this is the amount of waste generated. You can use your calculators and find it. 450000 45,000 basically, or 4,50,000 multiplied by 0.21 into 0.4. I've done that calculation, and this will give me just a second. 4,50,000 multiplied by 0.21 multiplied by 0.4, 37800 kg. Now we need to convert this into tons. 1 ton is 1000 kg, so divide this by 1000, you will get this as 37.8 tons. This is the total quantity of organic waste generated on daily basis, and the waste is to be carried on daily basis. So this is the amount of waste to be carried each day. How many trips you require each day? Trips required each day. Trips required each day. Round trips, you can say. Round trip is basically going and coming. So the round trip, one round trip can carry 15 tons. So a truck will carry 15 tons and come back empty. So that is one round trip. One round trip can carry 15 tons. How many round trips will you require to carry 37.8 tons? You will obviously require 3 trips. First trip, full capacity the truck can carry. Second trip, full capacity the truck can carry will be done with 30 tons. Remaining 7.8 tons, there is no other way but you require one more trip. I cannot say I will do only half trip and carry the 7.8 tons waste. No, you will require one complete trip. So daily round trips required will be 3 trips. They're asking us minimum number of weekly round trips. Round trips required each week. In 1 week you will have 7 days. 7 into 3, your answer will be 21 trips. That is the minimum number of round trips required. So 21 is the correct answer here. They're asking the answer in integers, so you write it as 21 directly. So that's a last question for 1 mark. Let us now move towards the 2 mark questions. 2 mark questions of common part. First one. This is an MCQ question, so there will be a negative marking in this question if you do it wrong. The correct sequence of following construction project development stages as per NBC 2016. You can check NBC 2016, volume 2. The first portion, the first part 7 I think it is, of volume 2 NBC is project management. So in that you have the details with respect to the stages in construction project development. So you see resource planning, project inception, commissioning and handing over, tendering, site survey, soil investigation, selection of construction methodology. By using simple logic, project inception, you have to start the project first, right? So, excuse me. So inception is the first step. After project inception, the last is obviously handing over. So you will end with R. Start with Q, end with R. There are two options. So you have to select from C and D by simple understanding. Look into the details of each and every step. After this, you will be having site investigation, obviously T. And then the next step would include selection of the construction methodology. Only when you know the method, then you go for the tendering process and resource planning and all based on the required methodology. If I say I will use PT slab construction, post tension or pre-tension slab. So if I'm doing the, if I'm using PT slabs or if I use flat slab, based on the technology, I need to plan my resource and call for tenders, right? So first selection of construction methodology U, then you have the resource planning, then you have the tendering process, and lastly handing over QTUPSR. Option C is the correct answer. So that's the 2 mark question, first 2 mark question, the common part. This is based on project management basically. It is a subject in the common portion itself. Next one, match the aspects in group 1 with the corresponding items in group 2. Fire safety, seismic safety, water efficiency, accessible design. And some options are given. Accessible design, obviously, it would be stair lift directly. Because what is stair lift? The equipment, the hydraulic equipment which is used when there is no possibility to construct a ramp for accessible design, you have to use stair lifts, the hydraulic lift which is used instead of ramp. So accessible design, the answer for that would be stair lift. Uh, so from these options you can check, even if you know one or two, you can easily answer the question. So option A and D, these are the two possibilities you can check for, and the thing which you can observe is seismic safety. In both the cases it is auxiliary damper itself. So even if you know one or two options, you can work with it and find out the answer. Remaining, if you see water efficiency, for water efficiency you require aerator. Obviously you cannot use aerator for fire safety. What is an aerator? Something which pumps fresh air or oxygen. In fire safety, if you use fresh air or oxygen, the possibility of accident or level of damage caused would obviously increase. It has nothing to do with fire safety. Water efficiency, the answer is aerator for that. And fire safety, it is zero strength barrier. That's a means which is used to estimate the fire safety levels of any surface. So 2543 is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer for the given options. Next one, match the states in group 1 with the corresponding vernacular building typologies in group 2. So they're asking us to match the terms with vernacular architecture. So for Kerala, it is Naluketu. Jharkhand, it is Bhumkuria. Nagaland, Morung. Gujarat, Pol. So these are the traditional vernacular building typologies of these states. 4312 should be the correct answer. Uh, Even if you know one or two things from these, you can work out like Gujarat, Pol. I hope everyone knows that, right? So you have option A or D. So by looking into the words and states, also you can try to take a educated guess if you don't know the exact answer in such questions. Next one. Match the examples in group 1 with the corresponding typologies in group 2. Navi Mumbai, Hisar, Greater Mumbai, and Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor. Obviously, Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor is an investment region. I hope everyone knows that, right? And Hisar is a counter magnet. Greater Mumbai is a complete urban agglomeration which includes all the surrounding portions of Mumbai also. Navi Mumbai, on the other hand, it is, what are the options left out? Either uh, 3 or 4. Obviously, it is a satellite town. So 3125 should be the correct answer. Option C is the answer for this particular question. Next one, match the places or events in group 1 with the corresponding heritage significance or characteristics in group 2. Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus in Mumbai, that is a That's of Victorian Gothic revival style with Indian features in it. So it's a building which has Victorian Gothic and Indian features assimilated into it. So see, for P it is 3. Kumbh Mela is an intangible cultural heritage of India. Intangible cultural heritage are basically not buildings. Cultural heritage, but something which is not tangible. What is tangible? Something which is physical, a physical asset. That is tangible heritage. Intangible cultural heritage is some dance forms, traditional events. So Kumbh Mela is a intangible cultural heritage. Walled city of Jaipur is a traditional human settlement reflecting an interchange of Hindu and Mughal ideas. The features of Hindu and Mughal ideas are seen in the city of Jaipur. Rock shelters of Bhimbetka, that is a long interaction between people and landscape because these are prehistoric uh, things in the Indian subcontinent. So 3451 is the correct answer. Option B should be the answer for this question. Next one, question number 34. Again, it is a 2 marks question from the common part. Match the urban design concepts in group 1 with the corresponding proponents in group 2. Again, even if you know one or two, you can try to work out for the solution. Let us look into these concepts. Vertical theory of urban design. This was given by Ken Young, who is an architect who worked on high-rise construction. Vertical theory of urban design basically focuses on urban design using skyscrapers. It talks about vertical gardening and other innovative features which can be assimilated into the urban design with skyscrapers. So vertical theory of urban design, Ken Young, who was an architect who was known for work in skyscrapers. So for P, it is 4. I hope everyone knows serial vision also has been asked a lot of times previously in GATE exam already. Serial vision, Gordon Cullen. I hope everyone knows this as well. So even if you know one or two things, you can look for or P4 and R2. There is only one option with that. That is option B. Theory of responsive environment was given by Ian Bentley. Winter urbanism is a concept given by Norman Pressman. So option B is the correct answer for this question number 34. Next one. In the following sketch, P, Q, R, and S refer to elements of urban design. Identify P, Q, R, S. Right? So P here is obviously landmark. P landmark. Then you have option R. R is basically path. Q is edges. S is vista. Vista is basically a view in which you have a landmark fit into it. So that is vista. So the correct answer is landmark, edges, path and vista. Option B is the correct answer. Next one. These terms, these concepts are used in urban design basically. Next one, question number 36. As per URDPFI guidelines of 2015, match the types of healthcare facilities in Group 1 with the corresponding population served per unit. So, uh, multi-speciality hospital. Multi-speciality hospital is designed for a population of 1 lakh for every 1 lakh. Dispensary is for every 15,000 population. Veterinary hospital, one for every 5 lakh as per URDP5 guidelines. You can check the guidelines actually. And finally, for general hospital, it is 2,50,000. So that's the answer to this question. 3154. 3154 is option B. So you can check that as your answer. Next one. Question number 37. This is a question where you have top view of buildings, plan forms of buildings given. You have to match them with the corresponding project names. So P here, this is the shape for the plan of commerce building in Frankfurt. That is P3. Q is a very well-known design of Parliament of Luai Khan, which is Parliament building in Dhaka. Number 5, Q5. For R, this is the new Parliament of Egypt in Cairo. And finally, S, this is the Apple campus in California. 3512. Option D is the correct answer for this question. Number 38. Match the biosphere reserves in India with the corresponding locations. So recently, I hope at least one of these was in the news recently. Simlipal Biosphere Reserve. There was this fire accident last year, which happened in Simlipal Biosphere Reserve. This is in the Mayurbhanj district of Odisha. For S, it is 5. Agasyamala Biosphere is in the Western Ghats of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. So there's only one option with P2S5, that is option B. You can also check the others. Nokrek Biosphere Reserve is in the Meghalaya, state of Meghalaya, and Cold Biosphere Reserve is in the western Himalayan region of Himachal Pradesh. Obviously, from the given options, colder region is only one. So for R, it is directly one. So by applying simple logic also, you can try to answer such questions. This was asked for 2 marks in the common part. Next one, in traditional Persian, now you have these multiple select questions from here. Please give me a moment. In traditional Persian context, Khanat system refers to. Now, this is a underground waterway channels which were used in in traditional Persian cities. You have these underground, have these chambers dug into the earth's surface, and the underground water is channelized across these layers. Instead of pulling them onto the surface and carrying, underground channels are constructed. So underground waterway, that's an answer. This is a multiple select question that will be mentioned in the question papers in the examination. Don't worry. In this paper, it is not mentioned, but in the actual paper it will be mentioned on the top what type of question it is. Multiple select question, option A is the correct answer. System where water is raised by a series of scoops fixed to a moving belt stretched between two wheels. No, this is not the correct explanation for Khanat system. Excuse me. A method of conducting water from a source well rather than raising it, that's an appropriate answer. A system where water is conducted from enclosure to enclosure by straightforward gravity fall. That's also a correct explanation. So the correct answer for this question is A, C, and D. Next one. Which of the following is or are classified as the principles of universal design? There are 7 principles of universal design which were published by a group of architects, product designers, and all. So out of those 7 principles of universal design, perceptible information, tolerance of error, simple and intuitive use. These are the points which you see in the 7 basic principles of universal design. Occult balance is not a feature in it's not a principle of universal design. So A, B, D is the correct answer for this. Next one, as per URDPFI guidelines 2015, which of the following organoleptic and physical parameters comply with the acceptable limit requirements of drinking water quality? This you can see in the physical infrastructure part of URDPFI guidelines. The physical infrastructure portion of URDPFI guidelines, you can find a table with respect to the drinking water requirements. Color maximum of 5 Hazen units, turbidity maximum of 1 NTU, and the total dissolved solids of maximum 500 mg per liter are the correct options. pH value minimum of 10 is absolutely incorrect. The acceptable range for pH is 6.5 to 8.5. That's the range, it is not 10. So A, B, D are the correct answers. For question number 41, this was asked for 2 marks in the common part. Next one, in an ideal air conditioning cycle shown below, which of the following statement is or are true in the segments P, Q, S, R? So the refrigeration cycle is given. I hope everyone knows the basics of refrigeration cycle. Air conditioning cycle or refrigeration cycle is a principle where which is used basically in air conditioners, refrigerators. You use these 4 components: compressor, condenser, expansion valve, and evaporator coil. Cooling takes place at evaporating coil. This is the outdoor unit. Like if you're having a split AC, the outdoor unit will have the condenser, compressor, and expansion valve in it. indoor unit of a split air conditioner will have an evaporator coil inside, right? We do discuss all these in the classes. uh, Anyways, uh, which of the following statements is correct for the refrigerant? Now, when refrigerant flows between these four components, what happens to the refrigerant? That is something which you need to know. What is the function of a compressor? It increases, it makes the refrigerant, it subjects the refrigerant under high pressure. So Q should be high pressure. So from the given options, at Q high pressure, Q is given as low pressure. So this is incorrect. This is not a correct option. Coming to P, vapor at low pressure. That's correct, because what is the function of compressor? It converts low pressure to high pressure. Compresses the refrigerant, makes it from low pressure to high pressure, and the input is in the form of vapor, because at evaporator the refrigerant vaporizes. So you will have vapor at low pressure here. So vapor at low pressure, P, that is correct answer. And here you will have vapor at high pressure. Vapor at high pressure flows through the condenser. The output will be liquid refrigerant at high pressure. So this will be liquid refrigerant at high pressure. Liquid refrigerant at high pressure, that's the correct answer. Now when this liquid refrigerant passes through the expansion valve is opposite to compressor. In compressor you apply pressure and subject it to high pressure. In expansion valve you release the pressure suddenly. This is called as Joule-Thomson effect, because of which air conditioning cycle actually works. It cooling takes place. So expansion valve is something where the pressure is suddenly released, so the output will be low pressure, and when you release the pressure, some part of the liquid will vaporize. So out of the expansion wall you will get a combination of liquid. Mostly it is liquid, but some part is vapor also. Mainly it is under low pressure. So liquid vapor mixture at low pressure is the correct answer. A, C and D are the correct answers for this question. Only Q part is mentioned incorrectly, that is vapor at high pressure. It is given as vapor at low pressure in the options. So that is incorrect. Moving forward, so that's question number 42 for 2 marks in the common part. This is from the concept of HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. Moving on. Which of the following is or are characteristics of Mughal garden? This is from landscape architecture. Again, a multiple select question. You need to identify the characteristics of Mughal garden. Pretty simple. Symmetrical and geometrical patterns, obviously true, because you have those charbagh layout. And in this Chabag layout, the boundary lines are defined by the fountains and water channels. So option B also is the correct answer. Winding road and untrimmed vegetation obviously is not a feature of Mughal gardens. You don't have organic winding roads in the Mughal gardens. Everything is geometric layout with straight lines. Vista with terminal building is also a feature which you generally see in Mughal gardens. Taj Mahal or Humayun's tomb. You see a vista with a terminal building when you look at the Mughal garden. So A, B and D are the correct answers in this particular question. Moving on to the next one, question number 44. Again, a 2 marks multiple select question based on air pollution, environmental planning, environment portion of the common part. As per CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board's National Air Quality Index of India 2014, which of the following statements is or are true? You need to know what is air quality index and how is it measured. From the given options, let us go through one by one. Air quality index is computed considering 8 hourly value of carbon monoxide. If you remember, if you have attended our classes, we did discuss that air quality indexes. I have clearly mentioned that in the class, and you have to look into the details of air quality index, and it came into the paper also. In fact, even in our mock test, there was the question on air quality index and parameters included in it. There are a lot of questions which are a form of overlap with our mock test, most questions. Anyways, let us look into this. Air quality index is computed considering 8 hourly values of carbon monoxide. That is a true statement. Air quality index is computed considering 2 hourly value of PM 2.5. Absolutely no. It is 24 hourly values of 2.5 PM 2.5 that is used. So 2 is incorrect. So this is not a correct statement. Air quality index considers ozone concentration. Absolutely correct. Air quality index considers carbon dioxide concentrations. No, carbon dioxide is not considered in air quality index. A and C are the correct answers from the given options. That is question number 44, 2 marks. So with that, we are done with the multiple select questions. Moving on to the numerical questions of the common part. They're pretty much simple numericals this year. The decadal population data of the city are given in the table below. Domestic water consumption of the city is estimated to be 175 liters per capita per day in the year 2041. Considering 2000 level population as the base year, so this is the base year, and arithmetic growth method of population forecasting. Using arithmetic growth method of population forecasting, the daily domestic water demand of the city in the year 2041 in million liters per day will be dash. Firstly, we need to project the population for the year 2041. So in arithmetic population forecasting method, arithmetic growth method of population forecasting, first find out the average growth of population each year. Then you use in arithmetic growth method, the amount of population growth each decade will be constant. So you need to find out the average growth of population per decade. Average growth of population per decade. That is to be calculated first. So what is the growth of population between 1981 to 1991? The difference in these populations, you can use your calculators and check. 15,100, that's the difference of population here. Growth of population from 91 to 2001, this comes out to be 19,450. You can use your calculators and cross check. The decadal growth rate between 2000 to 2011, that is 30,150. What is the average growth? Add this, add these three things, divide by 3. This will give you the average growth, decadal growth of the population. Now, once you get this average growth of the population, we are forecasting the population for 2041. So 2041 is basically 3 decades after. So to find out the population growth by 2021, multiply this by 3 because we are forecasting a population for 3 decades later. So the growth of population from 2011 to 2041, it is simply this. Divide by 3, this 3 and 3 gets cancelled. So basically this portion 1500 plus 1940, 19450 plus 3150. I think this should come around 64,700. That's the population growth from 2011 to 2041. So the population of 2041 will be equal to 245450, that's the base year population, plus 64,700. Add these, you will get the population of the year 2041, that should be 310150. That's the population for the year 2041. Water requirement for the year 2041 will basically be equal to the population 310150 multiplied by 175 liters per capita per day. That's the water demand for the year 2041 in liters. They're asking us the answer in million liters. Million is nothing but divide this by 10 to the power of 6. Right? That will give you the answer in million liters. Use your calculators to simplify this. 310150 into 175, divide that by 10 to the power of 6. You should get your answer for this question as 54.2763. Round off to 2 decimal places, your answer will be 54.28. The answer is 54.28 million liters. That's the correct answer for this question. Forecast the population. You all know arithmetic growth of population forecasting is the simplest of all the methods actually. So find that, multiply it by 3 because for 3 decades, and then find out the total population of 2041, multiply it with 175 liters per capita per day divided by 10 to the power of 6. That will give your answer for this question number 45. Next one, the activity duration, early start, early finish, late start and late finish in weeks for activities P, Q, R and S are shown in the following figure. The interfering float of activity R in weeks is dash. We need to find out the interfering float. Interfering float is calculated as Interfering float of R is total float of R minus free float of R. Total float minus free float is called as interfering float. What is total float of R? Just subtract 24 minus 12. This minus this. 24 minus 12 will give you 12. That is total float of R. Coming to free float. Free float is basically the next subsequent activity. Successor activity will start at its early start and the present activity will finish at its late finish. That's how you can calculate free float. So 21 minus 50. That will give you 6 weeks. 12 minus 6, that is 6 weeks. That's the answer for interfering float. Sorry, total float minus free float. That is 6 weeks. Uh, Pretty much simple direct question. Next one, a 230 mm thick brick wall of 10-meter length and 3-meter height is built using Flemish Bond. Size of the brick used is given as 230 by 112, 112.5 by 70 mm. Using mortar thickness of 5 mm, the number of bricks required is dash. So it's mentioned as Flemish Bond. So you need to first find out the number of bricks in one course. So in each course, Flemish Bond will have alternating headers and stretches like this. So by using 3 bricks, what is the length achieved here? You need to add mortar thickness, half mortar thickness to the left, half mortar thickness to the right. So you need to add 1 mortar thickness to each and every length. So add 5 mm, you'll get this as 117.5. I'm adding half mortar thickness to the left and right each. And this length will become 235. This will become 235 mm. So by using 3 bricks, how much length did we achieve? 117.5 plus 235. So that should give you 300 and something. You can use your calculators and cross check. 235. 352.5 mm for every 3 bricks. Now, what is the total length of the wall which we are constructing? 10-meter length. 10 meters is basically 10,000 millimeter. How many bricks are required? So this number of bricks, x, what is x here? Number of bricks in each course. Number of bricks in each course. They're asking us an answer in integer, so we will use, there's some rounding off involved here. Don't worry if we are rounding off slightly. Number of bricks in each course will be equal to, this x will be equal to this into this divided by 352.5, so it will be 10,000 multiplied by 3 divided by 352.5. And use your calculators and check the value what you're getting. 30,000 divided by 352.5. You'll get this approximately as 85. 85.1. So I'm neglecting that 0.1 considering that mortar, it is included in the mortar part. So approximately 85 bricks. I told you there is rounding off involved. We want an answer in integer, so I'm rounding it off. Instead of 85.1, I'm taking 85. 85 bricks. That's the number of bricks in each course. Now, how many courses are required? The height of the wall is 3 meters. Number of courses in the masonry will be equal to 700 mm is the thickness of one course, including the mortar thickness. It will become 75 mm. 75 mm is the effective height of each course, including the mortar thickness. Height of each course will be 75 mm. Number of courses will be total height divided by height of each course. Total height in mm will be 3000. 3 meters is the total height. Divide by 75. You get the number of courses. This is 40. So if there are 40 layers, 85 bricks in each layer, total number of bricks will be 85 bricks in each course, and there are 40 such courses. 85 into 40, you should get your answer, I think, as 85 into 4, 340, right? So 3400 is the correct answer for this. That's the number of bricks required for a given bond with Flemish bond. That's how you solve this question. when it is clearly mentioned about mortar thickness and the type of bond and all, it is always advisable that you do this method, find out the number of bricks in each course and then find out the number of courses and then find out the total number of bricks using it. That's question number 47. Coming to the next one, question number 48. Again, 2 marks numerical from the common path. This is based on estimation again. The reflected, now you see, ideally, details of Flemish Bond and all, it comes under building construction. Building construction is a topic written in the architecture part, but you do have question on it. So in the common part. So even basics of building construction, even it is only written as estimation in the common part, you get such questions. So you need to be a bit flexible with respect to the boundaries. You cannot draw a clear-cut boundary that no, I will not study about brick masonry. You cannot answer such questions in the common part then. So accordingly, you should be prepared even for your future. The reflected ceiling plan and section of RCC slab or RCC roof are shown in the diagram below, figure below. All the beams are 300 mm wide, 600 mm deep, including 150 mm slab, equidistantly placed center to center. Assuming 1% of concrete volume is occupied by reinforcement bars, volume of concrete is dash. First, let us find out the total volume of RCC. Simplest method here. Total volume of RCC is find out the total volume of slab till the bottom of the beam thickness and then subtract these depressions. How is the slab basically? It is a slab with beams. Find out the total volume till the beam thickness. Subtract these depressions, these volumes you can subtract, right? So that's the approach which we will be following first. But in order to do that, you need to know the volume of this depression. So first let me try to find out the dimensions of this depression. Thickness is known, it is 450 because the slab thickness is 150, total beam thickness is 600. So the depression portion, this one, is 450 mm deep. Why? Because 150 mm is the thickness of the slab, beam is 600 from here. So the depth, the portion of depression, the depth of that depression portion will be 450 mm deep. Finding out the length and width of it, these dimensions, let us find the internal dimension of this depression. Both will be same, it is square. Let us try to find that out. So if you see, the total length of the slab is 10,000 mm, or you can do it in meters itself, 10 meters minus, if you subtract the beam thickness, this is 300, 300 mm, 300 mm, 300, 4 times. 300 mm 4 times is 1.2 meters. 8.8 meters is the total length of the depression. This basically, what is 8.8? The inner dimension. This inner dimension plus this inner dimension plus this inner dimension. So the dimension of the depression, this dimension, length and breadth of the depression, this part, and also this part, both will be same, and that basically will be 8.8 upon 3, right? So this dimension is 8.8 meter divided by 3. Divide the 8.8 part into 3 equal portions. This also is 8.8 upon 3 in meters. Let us now find out the total volume of RCC slab. Total volume of the slab till the bottom of beam thickness. I'm doing everything in meters itself. What do we want an answer in? Cubic meters. So let us do everything in meters itself. Total volume of RCC basically will be 10 meter by 10 meter by 0.6 meter. So this basically will be 60 cubic meters. That's the total volume of RCC. Second step, total volume of depression. Acha, this is total volume of slab, right? Let me write it as total volume including the depressions. That is 60 cubic meters. Now, volume of depressions, I'm naming these cavities, these coffers part. If you imagine those as coffers, I'm naming those as depressions. So volume of each depression, so total volume of depression will be, there are 9 depressions. multiplied by volume of each depression is 8.8 by 3 into 8.8 by 3 into 450 mm deep. So in meters it will be 0.45. So that's the volume of the depression. You can use your calculators to find out how much it comes out to be. 8.8 divided by 3 is 2.933. Square it, multiply it with 0.45 and multiply it with 9. You should get this as 34.848 cubic meters. I'm rounding it to 3 decimal places. So that's the volume of the depression, total volume of the depression. Let me write this as total volume of depression. Now, volume of RCC plus beam also. RCC slabs plus beam, the total volume will be, subtract the two quantities. So it would be 60 minus 34.848. So this should be 25.152 cubic meters. That's the total volume of the RCC slab. Finally, last step, you need to subtract 1% from it because 1% is reinforcement bars. So volume of concrete is equal to only 99%, so 0.99 into 25.152. I'm calculating 99% of RCC volume, 99% of the volume of the RCC slab because 1% of the RCC slab is reinforcement. So multiply your answer with 0.99. You should get your final answer as 24.9. So that's the correct answer for this 2 marks numerical from GATE 2022 in the common part. So it's just a bit lengthy, but if you do it by visualizing it properly, it will hardly take you 2 or 3 minutes. Last question from the common part, the numerical. Following graph represents the income distribution among the population of a country. The Gini coefficient of the country is dash. Gini coefficient is a number which is used to define or measure the income distribution, income inequality in the country. So if the gap between the income line and the equality line increases, the inequality will basically increase. Gini coefficient is basically the area between these two lines, expressed as a percentage of the total area under the perfect equality. So this difference between the equality line and the income line, say if that area is B, or let us say that area is X, this shaded portion, area between the equality line and the perfect income distribution, expressed as a percentage, or you're asking us coefficient, so directly need not find out the percentage of it, but this one as a decimal fraction with respect to perfect equality. So perfect equality, say the total area under perfect equality, this total area under perfect equality is y. So x upon y is called as Gini coefficient. So let us try to do it. Don't worry, I'll explain the detailed step. Firstly, to find out the area between the equality line and the income line, let us say that area as B and the total area between the perfect equality line as A. Total area under perfect equality line. How much is the total area under perfect equality line? It is basically, let me say I'm denoting it by A. It is basically a triangle, half into base into height, half into base is 100, height is also 100 units. So this basically will give you 5000. That's the total area under the perfect equality line. Now let us find out the area between the perfect equality and income line. Area between perfect equality and income distribution. Let us say this area as B. How do you calculate this area? Total area of the triangle minus the area between the income line. So this basically will be 5000 minus area below income line. Let us find out the area below the income line now. That's where the calculation lies, or that's where the complexity of the question lies. So let us say this portion is 1, the triangle. This is a rectangle, this is portion 2. Say this triangle is portion 3. You can apply the formula for area of trapezium also, half h into a plus b, up to you. Or you can do it by using rectangles and triangles as well. Say this is portion 4 rectangle, portion 5 a right angle triangle again. I'll add all these 5 portions, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, to get area below the income line. I'll then subtract it from 5000 and I'll get the answer for this. Let us try to do that. Anyways, area between the perfect equality and the income line, this basically will be equal to 5000 minus area below the income line. First portion, it is a triangle, half into base is 30 units, height is 18 units, half into base into height, plus second is a rectangle, so that is directly 70 minus 30. Total length is 70 minus 30, starting from 70, 30, ending till 70, so that is 40. 40 multiplied by 18, that is second part. This is 1, this is 2. Third portion, again a rectangle triangle, that will be half into base, again is 40 into height is 18 minus 45, so that will be 27. That's the third portion. Fourth portion again is a rectangle, 30 by 45, that's the fourth portion. And finally fifth portion is again a right angle triangle, it is half into base, again is 30 into height is 55. So add all these 5 parts, you will get the total area below the income line. Subtract that from 5000, you will get the portion B, the shaded part between the perfect equality and income line. So do this calculation. Let me do it quickly. 30 into 18 divided by 2. Let me write the values if you want. So this portion I'm getting the calculation as 270. This portion 40 into 18 is 720. This portion 40 into 27 by 2 is 540. This portion 45 into 30 is 1350. This portion is 55 into 30 by 2. It is 825. So the total area below the income distribution line is 825 plus 1350 plus 540 plus 720 plus 270. 3705. So this will be 5000 minus 3705. So this should give you 1295 as the answer. Now I told you if this is B, what is Gini coefficient? I told you area between perfect equality line and income line, that is B, divided by total area below the perfect equality line, that is A. So this basically will be 1295, not 59, 1295 divided by total area between below the perfect equality line is 5000. So this divided by 5000 should give your answer as 0.259. Rounded off to 3 decimal places, so 0.259 is the exact answer for the Gini coefficient of this particular country. So it's simple. From the graph, find out the area between the perfect equality line and the income line. That expressed as a fraction of the area below the perfect equality. Now, when there is perfect equality and there is no gap between the income line and a perfect equality line, then the Gini coefficient will be 0 for that country. 0 Gini coefficient is perfect equality, no income inequality at all. So income inequality divided by the perfect equality area. So that is Gini coefficient. 0.259 is the answer for this question. So that was the common part. Now let us move on to the architecture part as well. You will find the explanation for the planning part, that is part B2, in a separate video. But let us do these last 16 questions, that is part B1, architecture part, I'll be discussing. So let us look into question number 50. 1 mark questions first. Which of the following process is used for surface treatment of metals? From the options, obviously thermoplating is done for metals, surface treatment of metals, riveting is used, soldering is used for joining metals, right? Extrusion is used for molding metals, thermoplating is used for surface treatment of metals. B is the correct answer. Pretty simple questions. Now, from a general observation from most of the students, the feedback was relatively the part B part was simple. Part B, architecture and also planning, both were simple. That's the general feedback from most of the students. Common part was relatively unexpected. That's what many students are giving us a feedback for this exam. Anyways, next one. This is from History of Architecture. You ask for 1 mark. An MCQ question, so there will be negative marking. Among the following monuments of ancient Greece, the only octastyle peripteral temple with 8 towering Doric columns lining both east and west facades is dash. The answer for this is Parthenon. Parthenon is a octastyle peripteral temple with 8 Doric columns on the east and west. On the east side you have 8 Doric columns, west also you have 8 Doric columns, and it is an octastyle peripteral. What is the meaning of octastyle? 8 columns in the facade. So if you look into the plan of Parthenon, there will be 8 columns in the front facade. That is octastyle. The west side also you have 8 columns. On the sides, you'll be so 8 Doric columns in the front and back. On the sides also you'll be having columns. So it is peripteral. Peripteral temple is something where you have classical order columns along the periphery on all the 4 sides. So Parthenon is a octastyle peripteral temple. We do discuss that naming also in the history of architecture classes. So that's 51. 52. An ultrasonic pulse velocity test was done on a hardened concrete element. USPV test, actually ultrasonic pulse velocity test, is a non-destructive test. There are lots of non-destructive tests in estimating the strength of concrete, like rebound hammer test and all. This also, ultrasonic pulse velocity also is a test where you use the sound or ultrasonic waves passing through the concrete as a means to find out the grade of it. So let us see. The distance between the transducer and the receiver is 600 mm. The time taken by the induced wave to travel the distance is 0.18 milliseconds. Based on the table, concrete quality grading is dash. Ranges are given for the velocities. First, we need to find out the velocity here. Velocity of the pulse, ultrasonic pulse, distance traveled per unit time. So it is 600 mm divided by 0.18 millisecond. But we don't want it in mm per millisecond. We want an answer in kilometer per second. So to convert this into kilometer per second, 600 mm want to convert into kilometers, you need to divide it by 1000 into 1000, right? Because 1 meter is 1000 mm. So first convert into meters. 600 divided by 1000 will give you 0.6 meters. Convert that 0.6 meters into kilometers. Divide again by 1000. So 600 by 1000 into 1000 is the distance, 0.0006. That is the length in kilometers. Now coming to time, 0.18 milliseconds. Milli is 10 to the power of minus 3. So basically, if you convert this millisecond into second into 10 power minus 3, so you can write 10 power 3 in the numerator. 0.18 millisecond. 0.18 divided by 1000. So that goes to the numerator. 1000 and 1000 gets cancelled. Zeros gets cancelled here. You will get this as 0.6 upon 0.18. You can use your calculators to find out this fraction. 0.6 upon 0.18. 3.33. Just check this 3.33 kilometer per second speed falls under which quality? 3.33 falls under doubtful quality. So the answer is doubtful for this particular question. That is asked for 1 mark. Right? This is 1 mark question. Till 56 it is 1 mark question. Next, 53. This one is a multiple select question. It is not mentioned in this master sheet, but it is mentioned in the question paper. It will be mentioned which one is multiple select, which one is multiple choice. This is multiple select question. Which of the following is or are examples of tomb architecture in ancient Egypt? Very simple question. Asked for only 1 mark. Step pyramid of Zoser and Saqqara. That's obviously tomb structure. Mastabas are also tomb structures. Remaining two are the temples here. So A and D are the correct answers for the tomb architecture of ancient Egypt. Next one. If aluminum refers to anodizing, glazing refers to, or if the what is the relation between aluminum and anodizing? Aluminum surface can be anodized. Glazing surface, what can be done to it? You have to select the options. So hard coating and tempering are the correct answers. You can subject glazing to hard coating and also subject it to the process of tempering. Tempered glass कहते हैं. So A and C are the correct answers here. 55. Black body radiant heating panel of 5 square meters of surface at 35 degrees centigrade surface temperature is located 1 meter away from 1 square meter surface at 20 degrees centigrade. Stephen Boltzmann constant is given as 5.6703 into 10 to the power of minus 8 watt per square meter per Kelvin to the power of 4. The rate of radiant heat transmission by radiant heating panel is dash. In each paper you at least get one such out of context question, probably not directly related to the field of architecture, but then there is some indirect link obviously, because radiant heat transfer also happens in buildings when solar radiation falls onto the surfaces. However, the radiant heat emission from the radiating heat the radiant heating panel is the large panel. So here the rate of radiant heat transfer, joules per unit time, that is measured in watts. Q upon T, rate of heat transfer per unit time, rate of heat transfer basically Q upon T is calculated as Stephen Boltzmann's constant multiplied by, if I say I'm to present, let me not use K because K is already used for representation of Kelvin here. So Stephen Boltzmann constant, let me say represented by sigma, multiplied by the coefficient of the surface. So this is a black body it is given, right? So black body is something which is 100% effective heat producer, right? So here the surface will have a coefficient of 1 for black body. You can remember this coefficient will be 1 for black surfaces, black body. So E is 1, however, you can skip that. So the formula for rate of heat transfer is sigma into, you can look into the units actually. If you don't know the concept, you can look into the units to get an understanding here. So Stephen Boltzmann constant is watt per square meter, Kelvin to the power of 4, right? So sigma into area of the surface multiplied by temperature raised to the power of 4. Kelvin to the power of 4. You have to take the temperature in Kelvin again here. So let us do this. You will get this as 5.6703 multiplied by area is 5 square meters. Temperature is 35 degrees centigrade. Converted into Kelvin, 35 plus 273. I think this will be 308 Kelvin. So multiplied by 308 raised to the power of 4. That's what we will do. There is this also here, 10 to the power of minus 8. Do not forget that. So I missed it with the coefficient 5.67 5.6703 into 10 to the power minus 8 into 5 square meter into 308 Kelvin raised to the power 4. Simplify this and you should get your answer. I think the answer comes out to be 2551, something like that. I checked and this was the answer which I got. You can use your calculators to cross check. So that's the solution for this question. Stephen Boltzmann constant into area of the radiating surface into temperature raised to the power 4. If it is not a perfect 100% emitter of heat, then you need to take the fraction also. But for black bodies, it is 1. So you can neglect that factor here. Next one. So that's a numerical asked for 1 mark, I guess, right? So 1 mark numerical. Till 56, it is 1 mark. So last question, last one. So that's a 1 mark numerical. Last 1 mark numerical here. A hypothetical truss comprising of weightless members is shown in the following figure. Assuming tension to be positive, compression to be negative, value of force in member TU is dash. TU, if you see, I hope you all know the two rules for zero force members. First rule for identifying zero force members is at a joint if there are two members joining, and at the joint if there is no external force or reaction acting, both the members will be zero force members. If there are two members joining at the joint, no external force acting at the joint, both the members will be zero force members. That's one rule. Second rule, if there are three members joining at a joint of which two are collinear, two are forming a straight line and the third is non-collinear, and there is no external loading acting at the joint, the non-collinear member is a zero force member. The second rule applies here. Three members are joining at a joint, no external force or reaction is acting at the joint T, so this directly will be a zero force member. The answer is directly 0 for question number 56. So these are the 1 mark questions of the architecture part. Moving to the 2 mark questions of the architecture part. So there are 8 questions, I think, in the 2 marks. Of these 8 questions, there are few multiple choice questions, few multiple select questions, and few numerical questions also. Let us try to do all those 3 types of questions here. Um, Match the illustrations of arch types. Actually, this is a printing mistake in the official question paper itself. After question number 56, you should get 57, right? This is question number 57 to 65. Question number 57, this is. So, question number 57. Match the illustrations of arch types with the corresponding names. P is a multifoil arch, so this is a Moorish multifoil arch. Q is a Venetian arch. R is an Ogi arch, and S is a shouldered arch. 3125 is the correct answer. 3125 is option B. Pretty simple question where the diagrams are given and you need to identify the type of arch. Next one, match the architectural projects with the corresponding architects in group 2. IIM Bangalore was obviously a very famous one, everyone knows. IIM Bangalore was designed by Bibi Doshi. Osho International Meditation Resort was designed by Hafiz Contractor. B nahi hai. Bibi Doshi is 4. Osho International Meditation Resort was designed by Hafiz Contractor. 5. Nalanda International School, Vadodara was designed by Brinda Soumya. Maitre Mandir, Orwell was designed by Roger Anger. 4523 is the correct answer. Option A. You see, the multiple choice questions of architecture or in general architecture part was relatively easy, except for probably this one, Stephen Bolfield constant, completely new concept, never asked in gate exam. Other than that, remaining questions are pretty simple in the architecture part. I don't think if you have attempted the architecture part, you would have faced any sort of difficulty in answering the remaining questions. Match the structural joining systems in group 1 with the corresponding materials for which they are commonly used. Welding obviously is used in steel. Spider connector is used in glazing. You see your spider glazing, which is a construction technique used for external curtain walls. Mortise and tenon joint is generally used in timber, and mortar is generally used for joining brick. 4153 is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer for this 2 mark multiple choice question from the architecture part. 5 more questions. 6 more questions. Match the instruments with the corresponding climate parameters from group 2. Pyranometer is an instrument which is used to measure solarity. Most of the points, not most, all these points, all these instruments are asked, have been asked already in GATE exam. So everything is a repetition here. Pyranometer, solar radiation. Disdrometer is an instrument which is used to analyze the properties of precipitation, snowfall, rainfall, the drop sizes of rainfall, the velocity with which drops are falling. All these are measured using these uh, laser scanner equipment, which is disdrometer. Hygrometer is an instrument used to measure humidity, relative humidity. Anemometer is used to find out the wind velocity. So 3512 is the correct answer. So option A is the appropriate option from the given options. So that's multiple choice questions. Coming to multiple select questions from here. This is a multiple select question. Multiple options can be correct. In traditional Indian temple architecture, which of the following statements is or are true? First option, Jagmohan refers to dancing hall, is incorrect. Jagmohan is a hall in Orissa, in Kalinga style of temple architecture. where Jagmohan refers to assembly hall, not dancing hall. Dancing hall is referred to as Nat Mandir, right? So that's an incorrect option. Gopuram refers to an entrance tower, absolutely correct, feature of Dravidian temple architecture. Chachala refers to roof composed of four triangular segments, absolutely correct, seen in Bengali temple architecture. You see these triangular segments, something like this. Generally, this Charchala design of temple architecture in Bengal, it was derived from the Bengali hut design, right? This layout of Bengali temple is known as Charchala. That's correct. Vimana refers to the structure of a Garbhagriha, absolutely correct in Dravidian architecture. So there was a slight glitch, I think. We were discussing question number 61 and we discussed Jagmohan is an assembly hall, so this is an incorrect option. Gopuram is an entrance tower, a correct option in Dravidian temple architecture. The entrance towers are called as Gopuram. Charchala in uh, Bengali temple architecture is a roof composed of four triangular segments. We just discussed that, Bengali hut design. And finally, Vimana refers to the structure over the Garbhagriha. That's also a correct statement. Again, in Dravidian temple architecture, the pyramidal tower structure, which you see on top of the Garbhagriha, square in plan, that's Vimana. So B, C, and D are the correct answers for this question number 61. Moving on to question number 62. Which of the following factors impact daylight autonomy of a built space? What is daylight autonomy first? Daylight autonomy is basically the percentage of daytime which you're able to meet the requirement using daylight. For example, say in this room I require 300 lux of illumination. This 300 lux of illumination using natural light coming from the windows and all, what percentage of the time I'm able to meet that naturally? So that's called as daylight autonomy. So if you increase the windows, you'll get natural, or you can meet the natural, you can meet the illumination demand naturally for a longer time. So it depends on fenestration size, window area, depends on orientation of the building. If you're providing openings in such a manner that natural light can enter into your space for a larger duration of time, daylight autonomy of the space will increase. Daylight autonomy is basically depending only on daylight for your lighting demands. What percentage of time you're able to do it, that's called as daylight autonomy. Latitude and longitude also play a role, because based on latitude the sun path will change. That will also have a role in the daylighting of the space. Glare, however, is not a factor which directly impacts daylight autonomy. Glare, what is glare? Basically, it is relative brightness. So if you're having a black wall and say there is a very bright window opening in between it or within the wall, so it creates contrast. So that contrast in brightness, that's called as glare. Glare, however, is not a direct factor which affects daylight autonomy. However, let me tell you, glare indirectly does have an impact on daylight autonomy, because daylighting of a space depends on three components: sky component, internally reflected component, and externally reflected component. Now, if say you're having dark walls, that will cause glare in the space, and also that will reduce the internally reflected component. So there's an indirect link. So the wall finishes will define internally reflected component and also glare. So in that way, indirect link can be created. You can say indirectly glare will probably influence daylight autonomy, but major factors of it are only A, C, and D. B is not a major factor governing daylight autonomy. So let us, probably the answer key will, the official, will wait and see what the official answer key will give us the answer as. It probably would be A, C, D, but then B could be an indirect factor as well. Next question. This one is now moving on to the numerical part of the architecture. So a beam is shown in the figure. Assuming a sagging moment as positive, hogging moment as negative, bending moment at section XX will be dash. Right? They are saying sagging moments. So if bending is happening as a sagging moment, this is clockwise, this is anti-clockwise to the left of the section. Since this is called as sagging moment. Sagging moments are taken as positive. So to the left of the section, clockwise moments are taken as positive. That's given in the question. This is a general convention we also follow in our lectures of structures. We do follow the same sign convention. Hogging moments, anti-clockwise moment to the left of the section. that is taken as negative, jogging moments. So the sign convention is mentioned in the question. However, let us first want to find out bending moment at section XX. We need to find out the bending moment at this particular section. To find out bending moment at this particular section, we need to first find out the unknown reactions. Let me mark these for ease of calculation. Let me mark these points as A, B, and C. They randomly gave some Y, Z, and W. Let me use the A, W, A, B, and C. Easier for calculation. Let us say this is RA, reaction at support A. This is reaction at support B. Let us try to find out the unknown reactions. First equation. Reaction at A plus reaction at B should be equal to 120 kilonewtons in the downward force, this one, plus the UDL. UDL is distributed 20 kilonewton per meter is distributed over a span of 4 meters. So this will be 120 plus 80, 200 kilonewtons. So RA plus RB is equal to 200. That is first equation, first equilibrium equation. Second equation, summation of moments. Let me take point A. Summation of all the moments at point A. Let me take that as 0. Due to RA, there will be no moment because the force is already acting at the same point. Uh, let me consider the UDL as a point load acting at the centroid. The total UDL is 80. Centroid of the UDL span is over here, right? So that is taken as 2 meter distance from section A. We are taking moment about point A. So it is 80 into 2. Section A is here. Centroid at the centroid of the UDL, I'm considering 80 kilonewtons. I'm converting the UDL into point load basically. This is creating a clockwise moment. Clockwise moments are taken as positive. So this is plus. Next one, RB into distance force. Next force is RB. Distance of RB from point A is 4 meters. RB into 4. And this is an anti-clockwise moment because point A is here. RB is acting in the upward direction. It's an anti-clockwise moment. Anti-clockwise moments are taken as negative. So this will be minus here. And then the third force is 120. I'm erasing this so that I can write over here. This is RA. This is RB. Next force is 120. The downward force. So it is creating. This is point A. Downward force is acting over here. So it's creating a clockwise moment. This will be taken as positive. 120 into 5. This should be equal to 0. Let me simplify this equilibrium equation. 160 minus 4 into RB plus this will be 600 is equal to 0. So I'll get 4 into RB is equal to 760 kilonewton meter. Right? So I'll get RB is equal to 760 upon 4, 190 I think that is 190 kilonewtons. That's the value of RB. Substitute that into this equation, I'll get RA is equal to 10 kilonewton. So I have calculated reaction at support A, reaction at support B. Values are 10 kilonewtons and 190 kilonewton. These are the values for the reaction at support A and support B. Now finding out the bending moment at section X. Bending moment at any given section is taken as the summation of all the moments to the left of the section or to the right of the section. Let me do the calculation from left of the section. So say this is point A, this is left of the section, this is section XX. There is one force 10 kilonewton acting at support. The remaining UDL also is over here. If I convert this UDL portion into a point load, so the total span is 2 meters. I can convert this UDL into a point load of 20 into 2, 40 kilonewtons. 20 kilonewton per meter acting over a 2 meter span. So that will be 40 kilonewtons. So 40 kilonewton will be acting at the centroid. Centroid is basically 1 meter from the section X. Only two loads, 40 kilonewton load, 10 kilonewton. What is 40 kilonewton load? It is the UDL value basically. Summation of all the moments at section X will be equal to bending moment of X is equal to summation of all the moments to the left of the section. So 10 multiplied by the distance 2. So section X is here. 10 is acting from the downward direction. So this is creating a clockwise moment. This clockwise moment to the left of the section is always taken as positive. You can see here clockwise moment The left of the section is taken as positive because it's a sagging moment. Next one, 40 kilonewtons. Distance of that 40 kilonewton from section X. 40 kilonewton is acting here. Distance is 1 meter. 40 into 1, and it is creating an anti-clockwise moment. Anti-clockwise moment to the left of the section is taken as a hogging moment, that is negative. So minus over here. This will be 20 minus 40 minus 20 kilonewton meter. So what is bending moment of X at X? It is a hogging moment of 20 kilonewtons. So hogging moment is taken as negative. So minus 20 is the answer. They want an answer in kilonewton meters. So minus 20 will be your answer. If you see the statement, you have to read the given statement very carefully. The bending moment at section X is minus 20. If they give you in the question the negative bending moment at section X will be dash. If they say the negative bending moment at section X is dash, then you'll give your answer as 20. Right? Here they just said the bending moment, so minus 20 is the answer for this question. There was a provision. There will be a provision in the question in the NAT type question to type in minus also. So your answer is minus 20 for this question. Two more questions. last the last two questions. Absorption coefficient of wall panel in each octave band is tabulated below. Noise reduction coefficient is being asked. Noise reduction coefficient is calculated as average absorption coefficient measured at four different frequencies: 250, 500, 1000 and 2000. Absorption coefficient measured at 250 Hz frequency plus absorption coefficient measured at 500 Hz frequency plus absorption coefficient measured at 1000 Hz frequency plus absorption coefficient measured at 2000 Hz frequency. Average of these four values is called as noise reduction coefficients. We do discuss this in the class of acoustics. Average absorption coefficient measured at four different frequencies: 250, 500, 1000 and 2000. That's called as noise reduction coefficient. Just take an average of these absorption coefficients. That's it. 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.7 plus 0.8 divide by 4. Using your calculators, you can simplify this. I think you should get your answer as 0.625. That's the correct answer for question number 64. 2 marks numerical in GATE 2022. Last question. A room is maintained at a wet bulb temperature of 25 degrees centigrade, globe temperature of 30. So wet bulb temperature is given as 25 degrees centigrade, globe temperature is given as 30 degrees centigrade, velocity is given as 0.5 meter per second. The decrease in tropical summer index when the air velocity is increased to, so initially air velocity was 0.5. Next, air velocity later became 3 meter per second. It is increased to, not increased by. If they say increased by, your answer will, your V2 will become 3.5. Here it is 3 meter per second. V2 is 3 meter per second. They're asking us what is the decrease in tropical summer index. The difference between initial tropical summer index and second case tropic. There are two cases. Initially velocity was 0.5. Later velocity became 3. Because of this change in velocity, they're asking us what is the change in tropical summer index. As simple as that. To answer this, you should know the formula for tropical summer index. Tropical summer index measured in degrees centigrade. The formula is given in NBC 2016 volume 2 part 8 under the climatology part. Tropical summer index is calculated as 0.745 into 0.745 into globe temperature plus 0.308 into wet bulb temperature minus 2.08 into under root, I think it is 2.06 not 08, under root b plus 0.841. I know it's a bit difficult to remember the equation, but yeah, question was asked on this formula directly. However, if you see here, what is changing from case 1 to case 2? Only velocity. There is no change in the wet bulb and globe temperature. So actually these values are unnecessary. Additional information. You need not substitute the values. Obviously you can find out this tropical summer index. It will become unnecessarily lengthy. You can just assume this part to be a constant k. Let me assume that as constant k. What will be the tropical summer index in case 1? Because it is not changing, I'm assuming it is a constant. Constant k minus 2.06 multiplied by under root 0.5 plus 0.841, you will get 1.341. Tropical summer index in case 2 will be K minus 2.06 multiplied by 3 plus 0.841, so it will be 3.841. That's it. What is the change in tropical summer index? Tropical summer index in case 1 minus tropical summer index in case 2. That will be K minus 2.06 into under root 1.341, that is TS1, minus TS2 is K minus 2.06 multiplied by under root 3.841. To simplify this, you will get your values as K minus, you can use your calculators, 2.06, you can use your calculators to find out this value. Just a second. Hmm. 2.06 multiplied by square root of 1.341. This value is 2.3855 minus K minus 2.06 into 2.06 multiplied by square root of 3.841 is this 4.0373. So this will be K minus 2.3855 minus K plus 4.0373. K and minus K gets cancelled. 4.0373 minus 2.3855. You'll get your answer as 1.6581 degrees centigrade. That's the change in tropical summer. So if velocity is changing from 0.5 to 3, because of this, the tropical summer index will decrease by 1.65 degrees centigrade, rounded off to 2 decimal places. 1.65 is the correct answer for this last question. So that's an explanation of the common part and the architecture part. If you want to look into the details of the explanation for the planning part, that is part B2 as well, you can find another video within on the same YouTube channel. Check those explanations on that video. And if you want your approximate rank, so you can find the answer key for this question paper is obviously available during the course of this video. It is also available in the as a link in this description below, for the description of this video below. There's a link for rank predictor also. You can check your score, put in your score whatever you're getting. After checking it, put your score onto the rank predictor. You will get a response from us with respect to a predicted approximate range of your rank for your particular score. Hope the video was useful to you. Thank you for watching, and we'll meet again later. Thank you.